Okay guys, today I'm going to do a slightly different type of video. Um, it's not a reaction to IAG Farms, but it's still aligned with the message. Um, I've been getting a lot of messages from people that are still subscribed to IAG Farms. And, it's disturbing that because you see something differently than another person, they want to attack. Now, my skin is thick, so nothing that anybody has said has bothered me, but it just makes me look at the world that we're in, the times that we're in, and it's baffling to me. So, I wanted to talk about integrity today because it's lacking. Integrity is lacking in our society at an alarming rate. I'm going to go ahead and start it here, and then it's not a very long video. I'm going to let the video play, and then we're going to talk just a little.
What is integrity? It's that idea of truth. It's that idea of honesty, something that's the opposite of a lie. It's the opposite of deceiving. It's the opposite of manipulation. There's that idea of truth and honesty and integrity. A person of integrity knows the right thing, says the right thing, does the right thing. Now, I've been learning about.
So if I just let it stop right there, he's already summed up everything that I want to talk about. And really, he just goes into examples of what integrity would be. And I think that people have gotten so enamored with IAG Farms that they've lost integrity along with Tim. However you want to be entertained is your business. Nobody really cares. I know I don't. I don't expect for you to care about how I want to be entertained. I don't go poking and prodding in people's personal lives to see what you're doing, what you're up to. It's never been me. I only ever said anything about IAG Farms because it was bothering my spirit, and at one time I was a subscriber. I'm not fresh to this whole concept of IAG Farms. It was 2 years of me watching their videos before I even said anything. And, their history with social media is far greater and deeper than 2 years. But within the 2 years that I subscribed, I had issues with what I was seeing. Now, if I see something and I don't say anything, I'm just as guilty as they are. If you don't know better, you don't do better. But when you know better, you do better. I personally know better than the things that I see them doing. So at my grown age, and with any amount of wisdom that I claim to have to say something. If you have placed yourself on a platform no different than any other creator on the internet, and you have managed to catch the eye of a large group of people, the last thing that you should be doing is misleading. The last thing that you should have is a lack of integrity. But I'm going to go ahead and let him talk some more.
Integrity all my life. When I was a little kid, teenager, as an adult, I'm going to tell you quick 3 stories about these lessons that I keep learning. Now, remember I mentioned when I was little that I lived in Wisconsin, farm country. We had a huge garden down away from the house. When I was about in 3rd grade, my mom said, I'm going to have you this year plant all the corn. Now, Now you understand, we're talking like 50 rows of corn. So she said, I've already got all the rows hoed out for you. Here's what you need to do. You put 2 or 3 seeds down, pat it down with some dirt, and come about 12 inches, put 3 more seeds down, pat with some dirt. You're going to do all those 50 rows. And you're not playing, you're not doing anything till that's done. I'm like in 3rd grade. I'm like, okay, well, let's just see how this goes. I start planting corn. I'm like, this is going to take forever. So I'm just going to plant it my own way. I take all this corn seed, I pour it on the ground. I start pushing dirt everywhere, all over, trying to cover up all this corn. Then I go over all the other like 48 rows. I start patting it all down, trying to make it look like I planted the corn there, which is interesting. By the time I did that, I could have planted it the right way. So I finished. Months down the road, my dad says, hey, let's go for a walk with your mom down by the garden, down by the cornfield. I'm not thinking anything except that sounds good. Let's go for a little walk. I'll get some strawberries and raspberries. We start walking. We get close to the cornfield. There should be about 50 rows of corn. There's like 1 row of corn and then this gigantic corn tree. I mean, you've never seen anything like it. It's the biggest corn tree you ever saw in your life. And my dad goes, what is that? What in the world is that? I'm like, well, Dad, that's a corn tree. I mean, I don't know what to say. You've heard of Jack and the Beanstalk. Maybe this is Jeremy and the Cornstalk. I don't know what's happening. And my dad taught me a little lesson that day about integrity. Did I plant all the corn? Yes. But did I really plant it properly? Was there trickery or deceit involved? Yes. So I was lacking integrity. Well, I also was learning about it as a teenager when we moved to Washington, D.C. I got my first job.
So before he goes into his next story, he talked about planting corn and then it being months later before his lack of integrity showed up. I had one of their subscribers ask me, why are you going 2 years back? That was 2 years ago. We can all change our ways. We can all have history that is no longer a part of who we are. And if that's the case, it should be left alone. But when you still display the same signs that you did 2 years ago, then that's why a person would go back 2 years. Because it's showing signs of this always being who you were. You never not learning anything or changing your ways. No different than his story. It took time for it to show up, but when it showed up, he couldn't deny it. And I feel like IAG Farms may be in a season of it showing up because they are being talked about in a lot of different spaces. And you can only lack integrity for so long and con people with that lack of integrity before it catches up with you. Now, if you're out there minding your own business and that lack of integrity is only affecting you, nobody has anything to say about it. But when you power up your recording devices and upload videos with lack of integrity, when you take donations from people and do not use it how you said you were going to, or to even receive the donation under false pretenses, that's a lack of integrity. All of those things matter. If you have given people the exact same song and dance year after year after year, that's a lack of integrity. Now, for anyone who's okay with that, I have said many times before, I'm not recruiting. If you don't see anything wrong with it, that's fine. That is not for me to do anything about. I talk to people who want to hear what I have to say. I kept this journey going because people asked me to. So I am only here for like-minded individuals, and I will say that until I am blue in the face. I do not condone what they do on that farm. I do not like how they handle their children. I don't appreciate the things that just happened with Miss Lily. I didn't appreciate the things that happened before what has just happened with Miss Lily. We have watched person after person enter these people's lives, get burned by them, and you never see them again. Victims. All these victims are from a lack of integrity. You have a couple that has secluded themselves down in the country away from people, and you have to question why. But even if I think I know why, nobody has ever definitively said, so I'm not going to speak on that, but it does raise an eyebrow. Why? Why? Why have you run down to the country, locked yourself behind those gates, and then dare anybody to say anything about what you're putting out for us all to see? Public consumption at this point. But there's a lack of integrity. So I'm going to go ahead and let him go into the next story.
Job at Domino's Pizza. Now, you understand Washington, D.C. is busy, frantic pace. I mean, it's a little bit crazy. I'm not a driver, but I'm working inside making the pizzas. That's like my first week, and I make a mistake. I look at the box, I look at the pizza that I made, and it doesn't match up. It was supposed to be pepperoni. I make a pizza with pepperoni and sausage, and I'm like, I'm going to get in trouble. So I go over to the manager, hey, Miss Tammy, I'm really sorry. I messed up. I made a mistake. I made the wrong pizza. She was so nice, so patient, so kind. Jeremy, it's okay. I know you're still learning. No big deal. I said, well, what should I do with this pizza that I made the mistake on? She said, well, we're going to make that a crew pie. I said, a crew pie? What's a crew pie? Well, if someone makes a mistake, sometimes we let everyone who's working here eat that. You know, as we keep on working throughout the day, we call it a crew pie. Ah, crew pie. Like the sounds of that. My friend Kevin, who's over there working with me, goes, like the sounds of the crew pie. So all of a sudden, about once a week, there were these mistakes mysteriously being made on different pizzas. Crew pie after crew pie, until Miss Tammy figured out what we were doing. Then she came out about 3 weeks later. She was not very nice this time. True story. She grabbed the pizza, threw it against the wall. She said, Jeremy and Kevin, if you're going to make mistakes like this on purpose and take advantage of me, then you can work somewhere else. I want people that have integrity. Don't take advantage of me. Learned something about integrity that day. But
Okay. So now you have a situation where you make an accident, but in that accident you learn how to take advantage of a situation. And then you take that one situation and you keep repeating it over and over and over again to unsuspecting people until they realize then it's no longer cool. That has to sound familiar. It has to sound familiar. And, you know, sometimes people need things broken down just so that they can get the picture of where you're coming from. Maybe still not ever agreeing, and that's okay. But to at least know that there's a lack of integrity in taking advantage of people. There's a lack of integrity when you're doing something that you know is for your gain off of somebody else's back, and you've never even discussed that with them. When you know that you can take something from somebody, use it for your good, but you have given them another reason as to what you needed it for. That's a lack of integrity. For anybody that is okay with that, I'm okay with you being okay with that. But I need for you to understand that I'm not okay with it, and that it's fine for me to speak up about it. It does not take away your entertainment. It doesn't take away who you want to support. It's me in my corner of the world speaking about something that has offended me. And you can never take away my offenses. Nobody can take away my offenses, no different than I can take away yours. It's scary to be living amongst a generation that's okay with this. When you lack holding your peers accountable to be liked and to make them feel comfortable with their bad decisions. Okay, we're going to go into his last story.
Because I speak about integrity quite a bit. I was at Best Buy with a friend, this is not too long ago. He was building a house, and he wanted to get this special TV for his room. You know, some of the guys, you love audio and visual, you want your little man cave. Now this guy I would call a techie. I don't know if you understand what I mean. This guy loves computers, he loves gadgets, anything electronic. I'm even a little embarrassed going to Best Buy with him, because he's got this list of all the specs he wants on this TV. And I'm thinking, this is a little bit over the top, but he is my buddy. So we go in there, we're talking to the salesman there at the TV place, and he's a techie too. So they're enjoying each other. Well, I want 1280 this and 700 this and PC. And I'm like, I don't even know what these guys are talking about. And all of a sudden the sales guy goes, you know what? I think Sony does make a model that has all these specs, but we don't carry it. But there is a store down the road that I think does have a model with all these specs on it, if you want to go there. Now, when he said that, I call a timeout. Now I'm going to embarrass my friend for a second. Time out, man, time out. To the salesman, did you just tell my friend to go to a different store? To a competitor's store? Yes, sir, I'm sorry, we don't carry that model, but I think they have a few that have all the specs that he wants. I said, I want to talk to your manager right now. Please go get your manager. Now this kid is freaking out, man. He is scared. He thinks he's going to get choked, but he's not. Manager comes over. Hey, is there some kind of problem here? Is there some kind of problem? No, there's no problem. I just want to tell you something. I was wondering if you could give this young man a raise. Now all of a sudden he's kind of confused, like, what? Well, I travel, man, full time, and I speak at a lot of different companies and corporations, and one of the things I talk about a lot is integrity, and he just showed that. My friend's looking for a certain TV that you don't have. And instead of trying to trick him, instead of trying to manipulate a situation or steer him towards something he doesn't really want, he had integrity, and I appreciate that. I appreciate it so much that you probably just got a customer for life, because if this is the kind of people you have working here, I'm going to shop here. I wonder if you could give this guy a raise. Then all of a sudden he wants to give me a fist, like, yeah, dog, thank you. He's all excited, right? Integrity, love it. We need it in our personal and professional relationships. Integrity, the person who knows the right thing, says the right thing, does the right thing. Integrity.
Okay, so
hello everyone, and welcome back to Kindness.
I'm not sure what this is, so it's not anything that I was trying to cover. So I'll just move to the center for a second so that I can finish this up. So, you know, his last story was self-explanatory. An employee referring another store that had what they were looking for, as opposed to trying to keep them there and sell them something that wasn't what they wanted or needed. Integrity. How many times have we seen people come and go at IAG Farms and try to be, not the people, but the owners try to manipulate those people while they're there, trying to get discounts, trying to learn their techniques, just degrading the people in their faces about the quality of their work. Just a lack of integrity, a huge lack of integrity. Now you have his mom, who has disappeared. They will never give an explanation as to why. And the why really is not even that important, because now you just still see a pattern of people entering in and disappearing. And there will be people, because I've had someone comment and say, oh, Miss Lily says she's happy. Well, she probably is. But that's not the point. It's not if she is miserable or if she's happy. It's about how her son and his character treated her. It's about him setting her up as though he was going to take care of her and then throwing her out to the wolves for whatever reason. If we never know the reason, that's not the important part of it. Because we see his character. He lacks integrity. I've said this time and time again. He lacks integrity. In my short 2 years of watching them, you can see the lack of integrity and how he treats his wife and how he treats his children. And then for his wife to have taken on his habits, she lacks that same integrity now. This is not being a judge. This is holding people accountable. People always, oh, who are you to judge? Who are you to sit there complicit with it? Stand for something or fall for anything. Is what they're doing okay? That's what you should ask yourself. I didn't want to do a reaction to them today. For one, I'm tired of hearing their voices. Two, the reaction community is growing, and I love to see it. It's growing for a reason, though. That's how fed up people are with it. Some people are looking and saying, oh, you just out here trying to get money. Maybe not. Nonetheless, nobody has told a lie. If you tell the truth and pay a bill or two, what's wrong with that? To this day, I've yet to make any money. Everything I have done has been for free. But who cares? Who cares if somebody made money off of it? That's Tim's entire purpose of being on this platform. This is his 9 to 5. So if it's okay for him, it's okay for anybody else. There's so many different things that I could cover, so many different things I could say. But for every video I've ever made, for every reaction I've ever done, integrity, that one word, integrity, is the thing that has kept the fire in me, because that's what they're lacking. If they lie to somebody, they're lacking integrity. If they took from somebody, they're lacking integrity. If they're putting their kids against each other, they lack integrity. For his wife to have that surgery and come home and still be slaving, lacking integrity. To promise your mom something that important and then take it away, lacking integrity. I got a long message and I don't want to read it yet because I kind of wanted to fact check stuff before I just say it. It was very detailed about things that they have been given. And just, even if half of it is true, that is a huge history of taking from people, having them think that it's for one thing, and then you use it for something else. That's lacking integrity. And if you don't feel like you lack integrity, there's no hope for you. Integrity is everything. If nobody can trust you at your word, if nobody can trust your actions, then what is the point in them being around you? So I don't want to make this video too long, because if I start on one subject, it'll turn into another and another and another. I wanted this to be brief, just so that I can lay the foundation for my why. For anybody who does not go back and look at my first video and is constantly asking why, this would be it. They lack integrity. They do not care who they hurt, who they harm, as long as they benefit. So I'm going to leave this message here. This was it for today. I will be back in a couple of days with another reaction, but I just felt like this needed to be said. So I will see you guys in a couple of days. Bye.